he set off with a series of strategic aims and objectives. I mean, how far has Israel achieved what it set out to achieve over this past year?
I don't think Netanyahu had a set of aims and objectives. I think Netanyahu was so stunned by what happened on October 7th that he lashed out without thinking and essentially thought to himself, let me bomb the living daylights out of Gaza until I figure out what the strategic aims and objectives should be.
Right.
Netanyahu marketed himself as Mr. Security. Nothing happens under my watch. I have the Palestinians so suffocated, I have them so firmly in an iron prison that is called Gaza, that there is no way they can do anything. I have eyes everywhere. I am in charge of security of over 80% of the West Bank. Nothing can happen under my watch. And when October 7 happened, at the scale at which it happened, that surprised everybody, probably including Hamas itself. Yeah. I think that Netanyahu lashed out and thought, hang on a second, this is a disaster. This is the first time Palestinians penetrate Greater Israel, or Israel proper, as they refer to it. And this is the first time they've done so since 1948. And even if they are defeated, the fact that they managed to take me by surprise might encourage other movements to do the same in future, because suddenly now I look weak. Moreover, when Hezbollah's missiles and Houthi missiles are penetrating Tel Aviv, my Iron Dome doesn't work anymore. Suddenly, I'm no longer the invincible army, and I need to kill in order to do the invincible army. Yeah. John Mearsheimer has a very good theory about this. He says that the Israeli policy essentially is that the more I kill, the higher price I make the Palestinians pay, the more hesitant they will be to resist me in future. And I think that was Netanyahu's policy. Let me bomb Palestine into oblivion, so that the next time they even think about revolting against me or trying to take land back, they themselves in their own community will say, don't do it, because the last time we did it, look what happened to us. Let's just accept the occupation. It's the same tactic that the French deployed in 1945 in Algeria, when a group of Algerians protested in Guelma, Kharata and Stif after 1945, when the French were liberated from Nazi Germany. When the Algerians came out, and the French were so horrified that an occupied people wanted freedom that they proceeded to massacre more than 50,000 in 1 week. And the aim of the French, in their own documents, stated that the reason we wanted to do maximum damage, including the slaughter of women and children, the reason we had to do it was we wanted to impose on the Algerian psyche that the desire for freedom comes at such a high price, it's not worth it. If you dare to ask freedom from us, we will slaughter not only 50,000 1 week, we can do much more. This was Netanyahu's tactic. Even though the casualty toll amongst the Palestinians is astronomically tragic, it is Israel that is losing and Palestine that is winning, because options are now available to the Palestinians diplomatically and politically that were not available before as a result of Netanyahu's outrage. And the proof that Netanyahu has no strategy is that Netanyahu bombed Gaza into oblivion, didn't take any land. So he decided to go to the West Bank, and he got tapped on the hand, and Biden told him, hey, the Saudis are saying that they need some sort of PR for normalization. They need a Palestinian state, which is the West Bank, even though you rule 80%. Don't touch the West Bank. So Netanyahu goes north to Lebanon. He's forced into a ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah. Then Syria happens. He says, okay, let me go and try and take Syria instead. He goes towards Syria and finds Erdogan quickly establishing air bases and military bases. So Umar Mukhtar, he knows he is eventually going to get executed and captured by the Italians.
Yes.
So Graziani tells him, I want to understand. They've done the scene wonderfully in the movie, but it's authentic. It's the actual dialogue. I want to understand. You have such weak resources. You didn't have much. Why did you fight us and bring your country to ruin? He said it was sufficient for us that we fought you. It was sufficient for us that we fought you. Graziani is still confused. So he says to him, how do you feel now that I've captured you? He said, what does it matter? We either win or we die and we go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. But you kill me today and you will fight the next generation. And you will fight the next generation. And each generation will fight you until liberation, because it's your occupation that brings the ruin to my nation, not my resistance to it. Umar Mukhtar never gave up. He said, I'll keep fighting. Fighting is enough. Yes. These Palestinians are not surrendering. Netanyahu is baffled and confused because he thinks strategic objective is in the demolition of the weapons. But when he looks through history, America bombed the living daylights out of Vietnam. The Viet Cong still kicked out the Americans. The French bombed the living daylights out of the Algerians. The Algerians still kicked them out. The Italians executed Umar Mukhtar. Allah yarhamu. The Shaheed, the Mujahid, the legend. They killed Umar Mukhtar. They colonized Libya. They made the Libyans it made it so difficult for them to resist. They still kicked the Italians out despite never being militarily superior. And Netanyahu is repeating that cycle of history. But because Palestinians know the history, they continue to hold firm and they keep going. And that's the point about Netanyahu's strategic objectives. He had none. He can't find one. He can't achieve one because this ummah doesn't die and it keeps going.